We are doing the Destiny 2 PVE subclass tier list for Season of the Lost. This takes into account the exotics that you can pair with it. Okay, so Nova Warp. So right now, it used to be in garbage. I think it's average now because it still falls under a lot of other subclasses and it doesn't offer a ton, like outside of the super. You can kill yourself with your own grenade if you overcharge it, which isn't the best. I personally think it's average, and that's where I'm going to put it. That's my opinion personally. And I'll put another subclass directly above it and to kind of like set a reference point. So if you guys haven't used Bottom Tree Goldie, I will put that in good, because if you guys have not run this subclass, first of all, with the 2 new stasis mods, it can generate 12 orbs of power for your allies, which is absolutely insane. 2, it can put in huge damage with both Star Eaters, and it has one of the highest burst damage supers in the game with Celestial Nighthawk. So it's insane on that front. I do think it's a tier above Nova Warp, for sure. And if you run this class with Div, if you guys have not seen the Practice Makes Perfect synergy, if you're a Div player that runs this, you can pretty much do a special finisher for your team every few enemies, which is absolutely insane. Like each time you div a champ, you can easily fund enough energy for a special finisher, which is actually pretty nuts. So Spectral Blades, garbage. I don't think I really need to cover this one too much. PvP, probably must use. PvE, dog water. I don't think anybody would argue that. It's just, it doesn't offer a lot. It's tough, dude. Behemoth goes in garbage as well, dude. I know it's used for like 2-man stuff to slow down Tanics and stuff, and you can freeze enemies, but it is pretty schmeat. Top Tree Hammers. Pretty much the only benefit is that you can throw your hammers faster, but it's like a way worse version of Bottom Tree Hammers that have sunspots. Let's do a great tier. So speaking of Bottom Tree Hammers, I'm going to put Bottom Tree Hammers in great. If you spec into Bottom Tree Hammers, they are absolutely insane. If you guys are familiar with using Titans and Sunspots and the ability that they have with both Ad Clear, because every ability you have creates a Sunspot, these are nuts. And you get health regen inside of your Sunspot. You can buff your teams with Sun Warrior. It's insane, dude. It's so good. Phoenix Cradle is nuts with it. Yep, Phoenix Cradle is insane with it. I mean, dude, there's so much you can do with the subclass. We'll go with a must use. Chat, where would you put Banner Shield? I would argue that it's must use. Obviously, my lens is tainted because I run a lot of endgame content like Master Vogue and GMs and that sort of thing. But here's the thing. There is no other subclass in the game that allows you to roam and completely negate all damage while having the ability to roam and shoot through it. It literally is bubble, doesn't last as long, but gives you an incredible buff and complete immunity from damage. It can gen up to 14 orbs with the 2 power preservation mods equipped, which pretty much negates the nerf from it, and it refunds 50% of its super. So it has super regen, it gens an incredible amount of orbs, it gives you a damage buff, and it gives you immunity, and detonators are cracked. If you guys have not used detonators and know how powerful detonators are, that's all I'm saying. That's why I personally think it's must use for me. Bottom Tree Dawn, you guys want to see Bottom Tree Dawn? I personally, so I'm between good and great on Bottom Tree Dawn, because the igniting touch and the ability that the super now has to chain explosions like Sunshot does is insane. And Dawn Chorus actually makes it one of the best total damage supers in the game. And your nade chains as well. And yeah, exactly. On top of that, it creates up to 9 orbs if you have 2 power preservation mods on. And it's probably the best ad clear super in the game if there's a lot of ads. And then you add Dawn Cores on top of it. Not only are you getting your super refunded back, but also it lasts like a ridiculous amount of time. Does it work right now? Dawn Course is currently bugged, but it's absolutely disgusting. I do think we need to deduct a few points, though, chat, for the helmet literally looking like Sid from Ice Age. So we might need to, like, knock it down a few tiers just for that. Middle Tree Hammers. The big hammer. This is assuming the mini hammer is not broken and not taking artifact mods into account. I personally think it would be either meh or average. Roaring Flames is really good on Atheon, so I do have to give it that. But outside of like Atheon, where it's an ability-based boss. Where else does it shine in D2? There's like solo Riven, right? Which is it's really good for, but has to have like a bugged hammer and artifact mods to shine. And it's really good on Atheon for the obviously like the charged ×3 Roaring Flames grenades, fusion nades. They're it's the highest damage grenade in the game. So we can put it at the back of average. That's fine with me. Let's do another garbage super. I'm gonna pair these together, dude. Name the last time you ran Striker in PvE, dude. The Strikers are rough. Bottom Tree Arc Warlock. What are we saying? Bottom Tree Stormcaller. Where you guys rate it? I personally think it's great, dude. I really do. I think it's in the great category. It's one of the best ad clear supers in the game, and I'll tell you why. So first of all, you guys are not familiar. Storm Dancer's Brace, the exotic that pairs with this incredibly well, got buffed so that it refunds 50% of your super energy. If you're using power preservation mods, it can generate up to 9 orbs of power for your allies. So the difference between your uptime between supers with your super and the amount you're genning for your allies, 9 orbs generates about 60% of your teammates' supers. You get 50% of yours back. You barely have to make up any energy between the two. On top of that, Landfall was buffed incredibly so that not only does it just put damage down on a single target, now it spreads 5 ways. Almost like octopus tentacles, like spreading out and clearing an area, which is actually insane. We've been running it in Master Hollowed Layer and it farmed, dude. It was actually really good. Revenant. Where do you guys think Revenant belongs? Must use because of Worldline Shatter Dive speed. We'll keep it in great for now. We can always move it if we think that it's better than other options. I'm down, you know. Whirlwind Arc Staff, chat. Meh, average, Garbaggio, garbage, trash. Middle Tree also benefits from Raid Influx. It's not that bad. It's actually not that bad of a subclass as you guys think. I would say like bottom of average. You could make an argument it's better than the Big Hammer, to be honest. Chaos Reach. So last season, it would have absolutely been must use, 100%. I don't think it is anymore. The topping off perk made it so incredibly good. The fact that you could literally get 20% of your super in about 10 seconds, that was the equivalent of having like 125 intellect. So without that, I think it goes into great. I don't think it's must use anymore. Here's an interesting one, chat. This is gonna get a lot of discussion going. Okay, where are y'all putting Bottom Tree Tether? Must use, good, must use, really, really good, incredible neutral game. The super definitely falls short. You're a sitting duck in midair, which is the one thing. You can fire it off the ground, but you're really not mobile when you're in it. It can put out a lot of total damage. Like it definitely has the capability to put out a lot of total damage, but I also think if you're using this class, you're probably a special finisher. It gives you everything. Insane ability uptime with melee grenade combo. The super deals so much damage if you know how to use it. Heart of the Pack is busted and invis for everyone. True. I personally think it's must use. I don't think it goes above Banner Shield though, in my opinion. I have an interesting one. Where would you guys put Devour? Top of great, top of good, good, average, top of good, good. Okay, so here's my thing with Devour. The ability is insane, but the super is so bad, it takes it down a huge grade for me. Well of Radiance, chat. Where are we putting it? It's the most busted subclass we've ever had. I think it's better than any of those 3 subclasses. There are reasons why. Number 1, it has the most busted exotic ever. I don't think it's a crutch. It's more of a chair. Dude, you're literally sitting, dude, the feet are up and you're just vibing. Easily the most busted subclass in the game, hands down. It is literally it is as broken as Self-Res was, if not more. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Top Tree Goldie, baby. Let's go. All right, I think I'm gonna put it below the Strikers. Here's the thing that's whack about Goldie that people don't even realize. You can't even crit on Top Tree Goldie. You can't hit a crit shot. Top Tree Nova Bomb, chat. Bottom of great. All of you guys are saying great. If you're gonna run Top Tree Nova Bomb, other than the super, literally wandering and killing an individual drag, we're gonna ignore that. right? That happens 50% of the time. It's a little tough, right? But I think an appropriate buff for Nova Bomb would literally be that it just can't be shot out of the air for the first 2 or 3 seconds that it's in the air by enemies. I think it's so stupid that you can have a super that you wait on for 4 minutes, you throw a Nova Bomb, and it gets shot out of the air by an ad. Bottom tree Sentinel. So this is not Bubble. This is the other tree. This is the other subclass. The stepbrother. Meh average of bottom. It's not bad. With Doomfangs, it's definitely decent. It's probably better than both middle tree. I don't think it's better than Whirlwind, actually. I think it's better than top tree hammers. I think it's probably there. I don't think it's that good, though. That's not what Sentinel was built for. Sentinel is built to be a defensive super, and it just kind of goes against that, in my opinion. It just doesn't synergize very well. You have Bubble and Banner Shield as the other 2 options in this tree. This never gets used. This one, I'm kind of... I don't know where to put this one. Top tree Stormcaller. Because it benefits from the same Storm Dancer's brace buff, but I don't think it's as good as bottom tree, in my opinion. I think it's similar to bottom tree Dawn as well. I think it might be a little worse than bottom tree Dawn. Longer super, more AoE. The super's got tier, but you can only use it when all abilities are charged. That's my thing. Okay, so this is my argument. I think it's better... It's better than Nova Warp simply because you can use it with either Crown of Tempest. You can use it with, what's it called? Storm Dancer's Brace. I don't think it's as good as Bottom Tree Dawn simply because it encourages you to hold on to your abilities too much. Top Tree Tethers, Top Tree Tether is one of the most consistent debuffs in the game. It's a selfish subclass in terms of invis. It's the only invis that breaks tracking. Bottom Tree invis does not break tracking the same way that Top Tree does. Especially from things like Shriekers and things like that, you can still get shot in bottom tree invis. Top tree fully breaks tracking. With Orpheus rigs funding 50%, it gens orbs and is pretty damn good ad control. I don't necessarily think it's the best in class at what it does. I would probably maybe the top of good or the bottom of good. I might put it at the bottom of good. So here's my argument against it being great. We're not accounting for artifact mods. That's the only thing. I think it's better than Devour. I could see that. I could see it getting put a little higher than Devour. It's definitely more of a team play exotic. These ones are a little more selfish. Like, these are only ad clear focused. This one is debuff focused. It's ad suppression focused. You have invis that actually breaks tracking. So I could see it because it's used more in team play and you can use it in solo play. I don't think it's better than Bottom Tree Goldie. I will stand firm on that. The ammo economy that you can generate in terms of special ammo, the amount of orbs you can generate, the damage it can also do. Practice makes perfect is insane. I think Bottom Tree Goldie is better than Tether, in my opinion. Selfish invis, but the invis is clutch when you're last alive in a gym. That is true. But it's like, for me, why would you ever use this over Bottom Tree? And I'll make another argument that hasn't been said yet, but needs to be said. I know we're not talking about artifact mods specifically right now, but in a world where artifact mods exist season to season, there will always be some sort of debuff exotic. Typically, they do not stack with Tether, ever. This season, for whatever reason, Particle does if you apply Particle first. Usually, they don't stack with Tether. This is a pretty uncommon occurrence. Also, you live in a world where Divinity does the same thing. Tractor does the same thing. Divinity is so meta on so many bosses that a Tether's usually not necessary. Blade Barrage, chat, where are you putting that? What are we saying? I think, personally, for me, I would put Blade Barrage at the top of garbage. Personally, I think it's better than Behemoth, in my opinion. If this were... Okay, so if we were talking that this was the OG shards with the original Shards of Galanor Blade Barrage, dude, that refunded based on the amount of damage you did and didn't cap, now I feel like the damage is so inconsistent. I also wish you had a little... you're kind of a sitting duck, so in endgame stuff, you're like sitting in the air. Shards got nerfed again, so they now cap at 50%. I believe it's 50%. Correct me if I'm wrong. It just really isn't that good for ad clear. It's not that great for burst damage on a single target. It kind of does something. It does everything okay, but not good. It's kind of just not very good. These ones you can use more practically. You could make the argument that shards is meh. These ones I find to be absolutely useless. I will give you that. I will say that Blade Barrage is better than these subclasses. I do think it's the bottom of meh tier, though. These ones I still find more useful for like general ad clear. The subclass is just, I don't know, it's not very good. Top tree Dawnblade. Celestial Fire is good. The movement is good, but the movement got nerfed. The super itself is absolutely tragic in PvE. I think it's slightly below Whirlwind Guard. Bottom tree Arcstrider. These two are a little different. Bottom tree's not bad. You have increased sprint speed, which gives you your dodge back. You have decreased damage taken when you dodge. And it's still really good for ad clear. I disagree. I don't know. I think it's probably like here-ish. Does Disorienting Blow have an AoE effect? Disorienting Blow does. That's the other thing with bottom tree. You can blind enemies with Disorienting Blow, and it's about a 5-meter radius. Top tree, I think, is... God, dude, where would I put this? The thing about this one, it's so similar, dude. I might put top tree Arcstaff above bottom tree Dawnblade, maybe slightly below it. I think they're very similar. People have used it to solo Riven. People have used it to two-man Galron's Deception with 1-2 punch. Top tree Sentinel, Bubble. Where are we putting it, chat? I personally think Bubble falls right here. And I honestly think Revenant goes up top. Does anybody have oppositions to that? I think Revenant is a cut above just in general. It's used in more activities than Bubble is. Nobody uses Bubble. It's definitely still used, but it's like, I don't know, wells and debuffs and thunder crashes and things like that are just used so much more. It's like, why would you get an extra 10% on your weapons when you can just have a super that does an incredible amount of damage right up top? Thunder crash is absolutely insane for burst damage. Outside of that, you have Death from Above, which is fine. If you take that, if you try to do Death from Above in any sort of endgame content, you're going to get absolutely run the fuck over. But you can also get boss stomped when using Thunder Crash, which is something to be considered, but it's also the best burst damage super in the game. It's insane. It's completely made by Curus. If Curus didn't exist, this would be here. It might be here. The subclass as a whole is bad, but the overall usage of it has gone up so much because the super is that broken for damage. It's insane. I think it's either the bottom of must use or top of great. That's my personal opinion. Thunder Crash is a one-trick pony, but the one trick it does is the best in class. Like, it's the best of the best in terms of burst damage. It does that one trick better than other classes do their one trick, right? So even though the subclass is terrible, it's a must use. In my opinion, the bottom of must use because the super is that game changing, in my opinion. Shadebinder, in my opinion, is the second best subclass in the entire game. The only reason Well is higher is because it literally allows you to do things that should not be doable in Destiny, like standing in front of Master Templar, 25 underpower. Shadebinders, the stasis turret is the most broken piece of utility in the entire game. You can solo champions with Shadebinder. It has the best ad suppression out of any subclass in the entire game. The super is also a very good roaming super, and with 2 power preservation mods can also generate 9 orbs, up there with the other best roaming supers. I think it's the second best subclass in the entire game, and it's not even close. It has freezing. Yeah, exactly. It has freezing that chains from one frozen enemy to another. It's just insane. What did we learn here? Warlock is best overall. I mean, Warlock's pretty damn good. So in the must-use tier, which you guys put above Banner, 95% to 1. 95% of you told me above Banner in the vote. So you have 2 Warlock supers, you have 2 Titan supers, and you have 2 Hunter supers. That's actually pretty cool. You have Sentinel Shield, and you have Thunder Crash, and you have bottom Tree Tether, and you have Revenant. So 2 in the top end. Y'all said Hunter bias, but at the end of the day, dude, like, there's only 2 subclasses out of the top, what is that, 11? I think, personally, I think this is a super fair tier list. You have I mean, obviously, like, the best of the best, other than, like, all-arounders. I think other than Thunder Crash, these are the best of the best, and then Thunder Crash does its one job so well that it's there. And you guys can check out other stuff we've done recently, like builds with bottom tree Stormcaller covering the buff, covering the power preservation mod, the top 10 sunset weapons in the history of Destiny 2. So if you guys want to check that stuff out, definitely feel free. We just passed 12,000 subscribers, which is insane because we started the year at 1K. So we've been going up pretty quick. And I appreciate all your guys' support on that stuff.